Hi Flora, how are you doing? So here is going to be the little edits and then the new exercises that we're adding. So your whole program is going to stay the same for the first, let me see here, I have my notes to the side. The first, balance on one foot, that's going to be the same. Exhale and touch the floor. Inhale and expend energy is going to be the same. So this is all in the previous YouTube video. The warm up from class, the leg swings, the bend, straighten, and rise is going to be the same, as is the calf stretch. First place where we're going to up level the what we were doing is going to be here. We're going to change 1, 2, 3, and then transfer. Now we're going to go 1, cross over, extend, and then transfer. 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 Back, cross over, extend, and then transfer. Back, cross over, extend, and then transfer. If you feel daring, you can try a couple of these, like 1, 2, 3, and then go. It's up to you, however many crosses you want to put in there. Feel free to experiment and have fun. And of course, on the days that are a little bit rougher, you can even go back to, balance-wise, because we all have rougher days balance-wise. You can go back to the simple one, or you can go back to this one here. Or if you feel like, you have more energy that day, 1, 1, 2, 3, extend, and then go. All up to you. Okay, next part is we are going to do dissociation, awareness, and balance. So this is going to be, I'm just going to check my notes one more time. It's going to be 4 times. Each time that we do it, we're going to put our hands on our shoulders. And the idea is I am not going to move my arms independently from my shoulders at all. I'm going to move my entire upper body as one unit. And I'm going to try my best. See where I have my little tie here? My tie is going to try not to move. If it was lower, it would be a little bit better because that would be right where my hips are. This might move a little bit just because of it's on my waist. So here we are. Arms on the shoulder, and I'm going to go very consciously 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you might notice is that when you're trying not to move your hips and you're doing this exercise, you're not going to have that much rotation, and we don't have that much rotation. Then we're going to switch to one foot. We're going to balance. You can have your other foot out or in, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to switch legs and do it one more time. So we balance, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, make sure that you do it very slowly and very consciously. We're not trying to achieve a goal of stretching more or doing it quickly. We're really just trying to begin to get to know the limits of our body as they are today and to get to know what this feels like when it's being done correctly. Next part of this is going to be a 6-count basic with dissociation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand on one foot. I'm going to go 1, 2, centered, and then I'm going to extend and I'm going to transfer my weight. When I arrive, I'm going to stand on one foot. I have 1, 2, centered. I'm going to extend and I'm going to transfer my weight. I'm going to arrive and I have 1, 2, centered. I'm going to extend and then I'm going to transfer. So every time that I transfer my weight, I'm going to try my best to balance. I have my floor just a little bit on the floor, foot just a little bit on the floor to help. So this is all depending on the day that you have. If you're having a great day, let your leg pick up, and if not, let your other leg support you. And the same goes for the last exercise that we did. 2, face forward and extend, and then I transfer, and then last time I have 1, 2, face forward. And then I'm going to go to the other side first. So now I'm going to transfer. So first time I went left first, this way's left for me. Now I'm going to go right foot first. 1, 2, forward, and extend and transfer. 1, 2, forward, extend and transfer. Now remember, my goal here is to not move my hips. So I'm only going to be using this small minimal movement that is in the upper body, in my rib cage. Also, my arms don't help, so I'm not once again using my arms in this way. 1, 2, 3, extend and then transfer, and then 1, 2, 3, extend, and then we are good to go. Next thing that we are going to do is going to be supported ochos with an emphasis on heel raises. So because they're supported, we're going to use a chair, a wall, or a counter. And what I'm going to do, I think that this is going to be the best way to show you. So I'm going to really segment my ochos here. I am going to extend my foot. I'm going to transfer my weight and dissociate. Then I am going to pick up my heel slowly, pivot, put the heel down, and extend. Then I'm going to step, transfer my weight. I'm going to pick up my heel, pivot, put the heel down, and extend. I'm going to transfer my weight. I'm going to pick up my heel, pivot, put it down, and extend. I'm going to step. I'm going to pick up my heel, pivot, put it down, and extend. So that's going to be for forwards, and it's going to be for backwards. I'm going to extend. I'm going to step and transfer my weight. My heel does go down at this point. Yeah, I don't stay on the ball of my foot. I let my heel go down so that I can rest. And then I collect, I lift up my heel, I pivot, and then I put it down very slowly and consciously, and then I extend. I take my step, I let my weight transfer, I put my weight into my whole foot, then I'm going to pick up my heel by bending my knee. I'm going to pivot, heel down, extend, and then step. I'm going to collect, heel up, pivot, heel down, extend, and then step. Heel up, pivot, heel down, extend, and then step. Okay, so a couple of really important things about the heel going up and down, and we already have an exercise that you are going to be working on this without any pivots. I want you to think about this very similarly to your heel raises. Something to keep in mind is that you want to have all of your toes taking weight. You want to have both sides of the ball of your foot taking weight. There's many examples that you'll see of people just taking it on the inside of their foot, right? And you'll sometimes even see people's pinky toes lifting up off the floor. This is something that we really want to avoid, and one of the reasons that I want us to do it slow in this exercise. It doesn't have to lift so much. Obviously, if you're wearing a heel, it has to lift more so that that heel doesn't scrape on the floor. A heel that scrapes on the floor has a possibility to one day hit something that's not going to let your whole foot rotate, and that could be problematic for your body. So I take my step. I have my toes going into the floor. I'm making sure that I have my weight on both parts of the foot. And then I'm going to push the ball of my foot into the floor so that my heel goes up. See how I'm not thinking to go up? That's a very different thing. Instead, I'm pushing down, and that makes me even more grounded. And then I'm going to be able to pivot. Okay, so that's going to be your next exercise. After this, because we're doing a lot of raising and lowering of the heels, I'm going to ask you to do another calf stretch. So I'm going to stretch my calf. With a straight leg and back, make sure that this knee tracks over the second and third toes of your foot. Same thing with this knee here. And then I'm going to bend it, let it stretch my Achilles, and then I'm going to switch. I'm going to send my foot back, making sure that my knees are all tracking before I really take time into the stretch. And then I'm going to bend my knee here, and then I'm going to straighten it. 2 more pieces of our puzzle is going to be ochos forward and backwards, focusing on the torsion that we were talking about in our body and our abdominal engagement. And we're going to try to use our feet in the same way that we use them. For these, do 45-degree pivots. So first things first, before I go to take my step, and this is a place where many people make an error in their ochos, they just go forwards without thinking about where the partner is. So I take the foot that's closer to the camera or closer to the front of the room, and before I do anything with that foot, I'm going to make sure that my upper body is facing you with engaged abdominals. So I have a straight line of my spine, and here I'm going to keep this as I step. I'm going to step slowly and see how here my abdominals are engaged and I am trying to face you. It's not going to be perfect as much as possible, but like we mentioned before, these ties are going this way. I am not moving my hips with my upper body just yet. I'm building a little bit of activation in my middle. Now what's going to happen is that I am going to pivot. I first have this activation in the middle that's going to support my pivoting. Second thing that's going to help my pivot is I'm going to rotate my hips and my foot at the same time. So I'm going to pivot, heel goes up, heel goes down, and then extend. See how when this pivot is done, I'm not facing this direction. Instead, I'm facing you. That is going to help me to control my pivot. So I take my step, I'm feeling all this in my midsection, my core is engaged, I pivot, my heel goes down, and I extend. I take the step, core is engaged, everything's moving, pivot, heel down, and extend. Step, pivot, heel down, and extend, and step, pivot, heel down, and extend. Now we're going to do the exact same thing going backwards. Everything is still applying here. I'm going to extend my foot, core is engaged. See how I'm facing you with my upper body. I don't have my upper body here and I extend. Instead I'm going here, hello, and then I'm going to extend my leg. I take my step, my hips are still facing the direction they were facing the whole time. Abdominals are engaged. I finish my step. I have this activation happening, and then I'm going to lift the heel. My hips and my foot go at the same time, and then I extend. Now I'm going to take the step, pivot, and then extend, and then step. Pivot, extend, and then step. Be very careful that when you finish the pivot, you don't just end up looking in this direction. The idea is that our partner is still here. Okay, very good. And now the last final exercise in this month's prescription is going to be this one. You're going to, let me just double check it. Yes, it's exactly it. You're going to take that extension, cross, extension, and step, and you are going to put it into your ochos, forward and backwards. So it's going to look like this. Once again, all of the things that we've been practicing in the other dissociation and pivoting and ocho exercises from before now are going to apply. You're not going to extend facing this direction. Instead, you're going to be facing me, and then you're going to extend. You're going to take your step. Oop, you don't take your step just yet. You're going to extend, then you're going to cross over. You're going to extend, and then you're going to step. Everything engaged. See how my upper body's facing this way, my hips facing that way. Lift the heel, hips and foot go around, and then you're still facing me at the end. You didn't let yourself go. Here I am again, and I have one, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. One, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. One, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. One, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. One, cross over, extend, transfer the weight. And same thing going backwards, keeping all of those things in mind, right? My hips are facing one direction, my upper body is facing you, or the front of my space. I'm going to extend my leg. I'm going to cross over, I'm going to extend, and then I'm going to step and pivot, keeping my upper body towards you. Extend, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. Extend, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. Extend, cross over, extend, transfer the weight, and pivot. Beautiful job. You know, if you have any questions at all, please get in contact with me. This video is a little bit long because I had to explain some things, and I hope that you have a beautiful night. Ciao.